Hello and welcome. My name is Matthew Walker with Medical Device Academy, and I'm here to introduce our founder and president, Robert Packard, as he discusses our upcoming 510K workshop in Amsterdam. Today's topic is the Day 2 agenda for Wednesday, October 9th, 2018, for Medical Device Academy's 510K workshop in Amsterdam, Netherlands.
Thank you, Matthew. We're really excited about the workshop in Amsterdam. Last year's workshop was 2 days, and this year we're expanding it to 4 days. The big change that people asked for last year is they wanted to not only cover the 510K topic, but they also wanted to know how that fits in with a strategy for changes to the European requirements for CE marking. So companies aren't going to just launch a product in one country. They're probably going to launch products in multiple countries. So they need to keep abreast of both the changes in the 510K regulations, but also in the European regulations to know how those two will work together. So we've asked speakers to come speak about not only the 510K regulations and some of the testing requirements that are changing, but also some of the changes in the European regulations. Day 2 of the conference is going to focus on actually preparing the submission. So rather than getting a lot into detail into the different areas of biocompatibility or sterilization or electrical safety, we're going to focus on primarily the preparing the submissions and organizing the information, some project management, identifying predicates, and we'll also, at the end of the day, we'll have a speaker on human factors. So let me go through the agenda for the day. Here's the hour-by-hour agenda, and as you can see at the end of the day there, we have a TBD. Last year we had Adam Shames as a speaker. He wasn't able to make it for this year's conference in Amsterdam, so we're looking for another speaker. We've got a couple of leads, and we'll be updating this soon once we have the updated speaker for that event, or that part of the day. As you can see, we've got quite a few breaks throughout the day with networking, and we also have, we're going to be covering the FDA registration process, small business qualifications, and inspections. I'll start off the day and be giving a little bit of an introduction for people, as well as explaining some of the basics of how you start a project for determining the regulatory pathway and identifying predicates and determining what kinds of testing would be required for a project. Even though Mary does all the project management activities for the project she works on, I'm not only managing the projects that I work on, but I'm also managing the company as a whole. So you get to see how you manage, get a little bit of insight on how to manage a very large portfolio of regulatory submissions. And that might give you some insights at your own company. We'll have a morning break around 10:30. Then Mary will introduce herself, and she'll cover the predicate device selection. She'll be covering some of the 510K process. She does an excellent job of the device description. I find that's one of the areas that a lot of clients don't provide enough detail. The FDA has some guidance documents in their RTA guidance that explain what information they're looking for, and I've had a lot of companies don't provide enough. So I think that would be invaluable to see that from the perspective of somebody that's very good at it, and she can provide some examples of how she prepares that. Here's Mary's qualifications. She's a biomedical engineer. She went to Wichita State in Kansas, and she has done an excellent job for our clients. In her first year working as a consultant with the company, she had 6 different submissions, all of which were cleared in less than 90 days. And this year she's been helping much more hands-on at a few companies that had lost their quality manager. And so she's filling in on an interim basis, as well as helping with regulatory submissions for multiple companies. So she's been very busy this year. At noon, we'll have a lunch that's on site at the hotel. The lunch is already paid for as part of the registration fee, but that'll be an opportunity not only for you to eat, but also more importantly to network with the different speakers and meet some of the attendees that are watching the event with you. And then at 1 o'clock, we'll pick up with small business qualifications and FDA registration and inspections. A lot of the questions that came to us last year and come to me from new clients is they ask about how do we get small business qualification? How do we save money on that? A lot of people don't realize that the cost difference between the 510K submission and the small business discounted fee is substantial. It's over a $7,000 cost discount if you get small business qualification, but you have to renew that every year. And sometimes just knowing that you have to do it and gathering the information in advance really helps you so you don't have any delays in submission while you're waiting for a discount. The other thing companies ask is, when do we have to register? You can't even register your Class 2 products that require 510K until after you have the 510K clearance. So a lot of people don't realize that, and sometimes the timing is important because you don't want to have to pay for an entire fiscal year's registration on September 1st when that's going to expire in just a couple of months, and you could just get the new registration on October 1st. So sometimes timing is important as well. But if you have the sales and you get the 510K clearance, you're going to want to launch that product right away. So having some information about how the FDA registration process works is helpful. And then the other question I get a lot is, when will we be inspected? When do we have to be prepared? Particularly for startup companies, they don't have the quality system always in place 100% because they've been focusing on design controls and risk management and labeling the device, but they may not have any records for production because they've only been doing small lots of prototypes that are used for the testing, and they don't have any complaints yet. They don't have any recalls. So a lot of the records are minimal. They may only have the procedure, and it may not even have all their training in place yet. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they need to know what the timing of events are going to be and be realistic as to when they need to get that quality system in place. One of our clients that Mary did a lot of work for last year, they got inspected this year only 6 months after their 510K clearance. So you need to be aware that it's going to come and approximately when and what things you need to be prepared for as a company that recently became registered. But it's very different from a European standpoint versus a US standpoint because the foreign companies will get 6 to 8 weeks warning before the FDA shows up. So that's another advantage that companies outside the US have regarding FDA inspections. We'll have another break at 2 o'clock so you can do some additional networking and ask questions specifically about your company instead of sharing private things about your company with the whole entire group. Then Mary will be talking about MDSAP audits. A lot of companies are being forced to go through MDSAP certification. That's the Medical Device Single Audit Program, and it's now required by Health Canada. They've given some delays in when you have to actually provide that certificate, not because they don't want it right away, but mostly because the auditing bodies, the auditing organizations that are conducting the MDSAP audits are overloaded with work and don't have enough resources right now. The European regulations have really strapped their resources, so there's very few companies that are getting those done on time. And so we're having some companies having to wait a little bit into 2019 before they'll have those certificates. But every company should have its certificate by the end of this year, and then they have a short grace period. So Mary's actually helped some companies by performing some mock MDSAP audits. She just recently completed one for a client near me. And with those reports, you can identify what things you're missing and it will prevent a lot of findings during your MDSAP audit once you get certified. Then we have another break at 3:30, one more networking opportunity, and then we'll have the human factors presentation at the end of the day. We find this is really helpful for companies that aren't aware that human factors testing is required or haven't been doing human factors testing. The FDA indicates that particularly in the cases where you're going to have a product that's going to be used by the layperson or it's an over-the-counter product. When you have laypersons using a device, even though it's a prescription device, the FDA really wants to see that human factors testing. And the FDA has said specifically in their guidance that you must have at least 15 users conduct the human factors testing, and they must be in the US. You can't do the testing outside the US. So that's something that a lot of companies aren't prepared for, and they get surprised by. And then they have to recruit people to do the study, and they have to design the study. So that's an extra hurdle, and it's good to know that up front as part of your preparation for your 510K submission. At the end of the day, we'll have some closing remarks where you can also ask additional questions. And if you don't have the time to attend the workshop and you want to get started on your 510K right away, you also have the opportunity to purchase our webinar series. We actually have more than 24 webinars that are saved online, and those are available for download. You can purchase those at the link on the page. I've shown a couple of screen captures there from the different slide decks, but you can tell we have quite a few different presentations. Some of them we've talked about, like the small business qualification. That's a very short one, but then we have some much longer ones talking about how to identify a predicate, how to determine, how to use the RTA checklist, how to complete that, how to write a 510K summary, how to determine what testing is required, how to write a device description. So we go through all those different webinars, and they're all available on demand, as well as the native slide decks. And as we get recordings from these different workshops, I try to upload those to the same place as well, so you get some additional material available. So that's why it's more than the original 24 that I recorded. In addition to getting to listen to all the speakers, you're also going to get a copy of their presentations on a thumb drive. You get, on that same thumb drive, the digital copy of my book, How to Prepare a 510K in 100 Days, and you also get the templates that we use for our 510K submission. All the templates that we use, we provide to the people that attend our webinars. If you're interested in registering for the event, here's the registration link. You don't have to sign up for all 4 days. You can sign up for just 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So if you just want to go to day 2, that's all you have time for, that's fine. It's only $4.99. If you want to attend 2 of the days, that's fine. I could see a lot of people that don't have an electromedical device would skip the last day, so they just go to the first 3, that's fine. And if you don't want to pay online, if you want me to invoice you and you pay by a wire transfer, that's fine as well. Just contact me by email. Contact information is on this page. There's my Skype address, my email, my Google Voice number that also rings to my cell. And the best way to get a hold of me of all is to schedule a call with me. That Calendly link at the bottom of the page is linked directly with my Google account, so you can schedule a call when I'm available. And if you need more time, we can schedule a longer meeting. Thank you, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you in Amsterdam.